Hi, this is Ruben Lerner, and you are watching my Python Standard Library video explainer series. This time we're going to talk about range. Back in the olden days of Python 2, if I wanted to do a loop 5 times, I would say something like for I in range 5, print I, let's say. And back in those days, range 5 would return a list from 0 to 5, not inclusive, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, what happens if you say something really big, like 500,000? Was it 50 million? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 5 million. I'll be back in a little bit. 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, obviously I'm not going to count up to 5 million there. And your computer can count up to 5 million, but why create a huge list like that? So back in the days of Python 2, we had range and we had xrange. And xrange would return an iterator going from 0 till 1 less than 5 million. And then with each iteration, it would return the next number in sequence. So as I like to tell people who are still using Python 2, when it comes to range and xrange, for very small things, it doesn't really matter whether you use range or xrange. And for very big things, it matters a lot. You want to use xrange. So why would you ever use range? You probably wouldn't. And thus, in Python 3, they got rid of the distinction. And in Python 3, we only have range. And so I can say range here, print I. I'm actually not going to print all these out. I can say here print, range 5, print I, and that works fine. But what do I get back when I say range 5? I get a range object, R equals range 5. And the type of R is a range. It is an actual object, and it implements all sorts of protocols that we're used to from other objects. So first, let me show you how to create a range. So the easiest, most common way to create a range is just to say the maximum. That means from 0 until and not including 5. All right, so that's what we do there. I can also say R equals range from 5 till 20, and that means from 5 until and not including 20. And sure enough, if I say here for I in range, or I guess in R, print, let's say I and equals space, and then it'll just give me all the numbers from 5 until and not including 20. And what if I say R equals range from 5 till 50, 15? So that means from 5 until, not including 50, step size 15, meaning with each iteration it's going to go up by 15. So if I say for I in R, print I and equals space, and now I'm going to get all the numbers, so 5, and then 20, and then 35, and then that's it. Now you could say, wait a second, 35 plus 15, where I come from, is actually 50. Aha, but it's up to and not including. So it's not going to do that. If I had said here 51, oh, that's a different thing altogether, and then it will actually include 50. So these ranges are really useful whenever you want to iterate over any sort of set of numbers. By the way, what if you want to count backwards? What if I want to say from 10 until 1? Well, then I have to say that my step size is actually going to be minus 1. And then it'll work just fine. We can count down. What if I say R equals range from 10 until 1 by 1? What if I forget to give it a minus 1 there? Well, basically, it's going to be a very short loop. Right? It's not going to do anything. And the reason is it's going to say I want to go from 10 to 1, and it checks whether this is positive or negative to know whether it's checking for less than or greater than. So because it's positive, it wants to make sure that it hasn't gone beyond the limit 1, and it has gone beyond the limit, so we end before we start. What else can I do here? Let's make a big range. If I say R equals range, let's say from 100 to 1500, and we'll say it's by 123 in terms of our step size. So if I ask to see the range object, we're going to see this sort of thing exactly, from 100 to 1500 by 123. And I can actually pull out attributes on this. I could say R start, and R stop, and R step. And so this tells me where does it start, where does it stop, and what is its step size. And so I can pull apart the different pieces of the range to do it this way. I can ask questions of it. So for example, I can say here, well, is 223 in R? And the answer is yes, it is. How about 224 in R? No, it is not. So it's not just telling us whether it's between the first and the last digit. It's actually telling us, is this number going to be returned to us in one of the iterations from the range? So I can use in there as well. I can also say, well, but I want R. Well, what's the len of R? How many objects are we going to get back? 12. Well, I want to see from number 4 up to and not including number 10. Sure enough, we can do that. We get a new range object back. We're not going to get a list of objects back. That would be ridiculous. If I want to get a list, I can say list of R, and then I'll get all the elements back, or list of R 4 to 10, and I'll get the elements back there. So range objects are very flexible in Python 3. We can use them for all sorts of things, and they're very small. They only contain, well, that start, stop, and step. And each time you ask them for their next value, they'll just sort of, well, step it up by one step size there. All right, that is what you need to know about range objects. This is the Python Video Explainer series. I'm Reuven Lerner, and I hope you'll join me for many more videos to come. If you are enjoying this series, tell your friends, tell your enemies, tell the people who should be learning Python but aren't. Okay, enough silliness. See you next time.